Okay, so I was working on another video and I was just perusing the Twitter streets and I saw that hip hop photographer Joe Conzo has issued a cease and desist to the distribution company, to the theatrical screening company for Tariq Nasheed to stop all showings of Microphone Check. Why? This goes back a little ways. This is from Tariq's Twitter. It says, important announcement. All the nationwide theatrical screenings of the hip hop film Microphone Check, which we talked about on this channel before, I went to see, in very good film, tells the history of hip hop, scheduled for tomorrow, has been canceled because Puerto Rican photographer Joe Conzo sent a letter to our film distributor making a bogus copyright claim in order to spook the corporation, and it worked. Conzo and others like him have been consistently trying to sabotage this film because they are salty that the black pioneers of hip hop were getting their proper respect without revising the history. It says this film will stream next week at FBA Stream, which is his website, and you can get your Blu-ray copy at microphonecheck.com. Hashtag Black and Brown Coalition. Interesting. So now we have a photographer who took some pretty historic photographs of the early days of history. He's been interviewed, and I heard in interviews Joe Conzo saying that he took hip hop's baby pictures, right? Well, of course, Joe Conzo's pictures have a start date, which is after the start date that is specified in Tariq's film, right? So for some reason, I believe Joe thinks that this culture, hip hop, somehow belongs to him because he owns the copyrights on some photographs of it. That is where we're at right now. And that, unfortunately, as a member of this hip hop culture, is disturbing because it's then just showing you how disjointed this thing has been. You know, so many of our artists were robbed. So many of our artists were snaked out of all types of money by record companies and you name it, anywhere else. So the fact that this man came in there, and I believe he was fairly young at the time, but came in there and took pictures of these people without their permission, might I add, of these hip hop figures, because there's pictures of Grandmaster Caz that I know Joe Conzo has taken, and Grandmaster Caz is in the video saying what Tariq is saying. So you're actually going against the hip hop pioneers that have set up in this film. What does this all stem back to? This stems back to the argument after Tariq Nasheed released the trailer for Microphone Check. Microphone Check Tariq had used some pictures that he thought was in the public domain, didn't know the necessarily copyright in the initial phases. It might have been 1, 2, or 3 pictures max. And Joe Conzo put a cease and desist on that trailer, which then Tariq took action and took the trailer down, re-edited it, excluding those pictures. Guess what? He's still able to go on and do his Kickstarter, raise his money, and the film is able to be completed. So now that the film has been somewhat of a success, I think a pretty amazing success based on its independent nature, now Joe Conzo comes along again with these claims. Seems like a really salty move. I'm just thinking about, the culture and how the culture was birthed and how these people got together to create this thing that we now call hip hop. And if Joe Conzo claims to be a person that is involved in the hip hop community, like, why is he so anti this history coming out? Why is he so fervently fighting Tariq Nasheed on these claims on this film? That's just a documentary. There's been plenty of documentaries in the past. Why this one documentary? And I think it's because it sets the date and the creation of hip hop purely in the Black American community. And Joe Conzo doesn't like that. Let's see what Joe Conzo had to say in his letter. Okay, it says here, to whom it may concern, My name is Joseph. It says, to whom it may concern. My name is Joseph. I write regarding the unauthorized use of my copyrighted intellectual property in the film Microphone Check, which is scheduled to show at Quad Cinema in New York City from July 19th to the 25th, 2024. For your information, I am a pioneering photographer from the Bronx, New York, who has been heralded by the New York Times as the man who took hip-hop's baby pictures. Okay, so he's saying New York Times gave him that title. My seminal book on hip-hop culture, Born in the Bronx, a visual record of the early days of hip-hop, 2017, Rizzoli, has received worldwide acclaim, and my photographic collection is held in Cornell University's Cornell Hip-Hop Collection, part of its rare and manuscript collections. In addition, I'm a U.S. Army veteran. Oh, he's landed on thick now. So thank you for your service, sir. And retired EMT with the New York Fire Department, who proudly served New York and assisted in the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. I'm notifying you of infringement of my rights under the Copyright Act and counterpart laws around the world. My copyrighted photos, which appear in the film, so he's just saying out and out his pictures appear in this film, Microphone Check, were not authorized by me, my agent, or the director, Tariq Nasheed, or any of their agents to use my exclusive photos in any way, shape, or form. In doing so, the film and its producers have violated the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Okay, so they're saying that he's saying that his pictures are in the film and that and Tariq didn't have the permission. Well, I know the pictures that they had that were in question before them were allegedly his pictures, were taken out of the original trailer, so I assume they were taken out of the film. But in order for him to know this, he had to have somebody that went to the film and saw the film, or he went himself, most likely. But interesting, or he got a copy of it. As an FYI, okay. In doing so, the film and its producers have violated the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, infringe upon rights held by me, including my exclusive rights of reproduction, distribution, and display. As a FYI, Microphone Check was recently sold on Amazon in Blu-ray format. It was recently pulled from Amazon too. I wonder if that had something to do with it. On the advice of counsel, I filed a copyright infringement claim with Amazon for the film's unauthorized use of my photos. On July 14th, 2024, my claims were honored by Amazon. Got the number for the film, and the film was removed from its website. It's worth noting that this film also infringes on a number of intellectual properties held by my contemporaries, including iconic New York-based photographers Martha Cooper, Ernie Panicoli, and Henry Chalfant. Henry Chalfant is the producer of the seminal 1983 hip-hop documentary film Style Wars, which is a classic, right? Style Wars, Style Wars probably made a decent amount of money in its years and years of since 1983. I'm guaranteeing you, just in knowing how the film industry operates, I'm guaranteeing you almost none of those people were compensated. None of those people got residuals. None of those people were paid. So these are the people that he's saying, Martha Cooper himself, and Ernie Panicoli, Henry Chalfant, all people of other nationalities, I'm just going to bring that point up as well, that are profiting off of the movement of hip hop in 1983. They're all benefiting to this day from 1983 and earlier. These kids that were from the poorest parts of New York City that were rapping on a mic, inventing new flows, patterns, DJing, graffiti, breakdancing, all of that. These people are still benefiting to this day. I want you to make sure you note that, because now that Tariq Nasheed has gotten into this documentary business, now all of a sudden his livelihood, which is making documentaries, is being impacted by people that are not black. Okay. And one of his prints is held in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum of art in New York City, I kindly ask that Quad Cinema and Cohen Media Group cease and desist from showing Microphone Check on the aforementioned dates and on the grounds of multiple and willful copyright infringement. I'm also seeking legal action against this film for its unlawful and willful use of my photos. In closing, I come from a very strong and ethical family. My late grandmother, he comes from a family of doctors now. Okay? I want you to note that too. Dr. Evelina Lopez Antonetti, aka the Hell Lady of the Bronx, what? Was a legendary New York civil rights and education activist who famously protested the 1981 20th Century Fox film Fort Apache, The Bronx, for its biased depiction of minorities in the Bronx, and learned very early on to fight for my rights personally as a man of color. Now, it sounds like you're trying to get that bag. And later on professionally, I've always believed in doing the right thing. I trust Quad Cinema and or Cohen Media Group will do the right thing here and not support films who infringe on legal rights held by others, especially those who have wholeheartedly committed their lives and careers civically and culturally to the great state of New York. He's throwing that extra in there. Thank you in advance for your prompt attention to this matter, and please confirm the receipt of this correspondence as soon as possible. Sincerely yours, Joe Conzo. I'm well aware, Tariq Nasheed this isn't his first rodeo, and I'm pretty sure he has the best Hollywood lawyers he can get who might have an interest in this, because he's got some partners here, it seems, Quad and Cohen Media. So they're going to handle it. I think it's just the public nature of this now that is interesting, because the societal pressure that's going to be put on someone like a Joe Conzo, who says, he's just representing that some of his other people their work was included in the film, when he doesn't know what kind of deal they have necessarily, unless he's in contact with those people and he's like, hey, your stuff is in here. He probably could have said, hey, your stuff is in here, and they didn't even double check. But the fact that he's including them in this is interesting, because most production companies are going to do their due diligence and reach out to the people, unless you have somebody like this who is obviously anti what you are doing, because he was from the beginning, from the trailer, he was ready to put up a fight, to raise an issue. But yeah, what do y'all think about this, man? This is tragic, because I would say you want to think black people who are independent, who are doing some things. I've talked about it in my Corey Holcomb reaction to when Tariq Nasheed was on the show, have some type of momentum going, and they're building things on their own. They're trying to do business. This is the cost of doing business. This is pretty par for the course, obviously. But with such a sensitive topic, and this letter to come out and really just, for it to potentially derail something that has this good of a chance of, it's on an Oscar qualifying run right now, right? So they're just running it in theaters right now, so it gets enough so that it's qualified to potentially be nominated for an Oscar. And he hopes to bring it down. What type of member of the hip hop community is that? With those type of allies, you don't need enemies. But either way, shout out to Tariq Nasheed. Hopefully the Microphone Check film gets back on course, and this is a minimal issue. I mean, I do think the fact that Tariq even posting this shows that he needs some of the public support, obviously. So, I think if there's enough public pressure, you can look at what Conzo is doing, and if he's actually damaging Tariq Nasheed in any way, I think it's a good chance that there could be a countersuit. Really, if you want to stop somebody's motion, there's always another way to get things going again. But anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. If you want to watch more, please watch one of these videos down below. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter. The link is in the description. That way you can stay up to date on all things Faucette Media. This is Faucette Media.